This happened to a girl named Jenna back when she was 13. It was an ordinary Friday night. Jenna's parents were out of town for the weekend, and her older cousin Rachel, who was 19 at the time, was staying over to keep an eye on things. Jenna invited her two best friends, Maddie and Sam, for a sleepover in the basement. Nothing unusual. Snacks, a horror movie, neither of them was actually watching. Phones charging in the corner. Around midnight, they turned off the movie and laid out their sleeping bags to talk instead. Jenna remembers laughing about something stupid one of their classmates had said. Normal 13-year-old stuff. Then Sam sat up and said, "Wait, why are there 4 sleeping bags?" Jenna looked over, and Sam was right. There were 3 of them in the basement, but laid out against the far wall, half in shadow, was a 4th sleeping bag, rolled out flat, zipped up. Like someone was already inside it. None of them had put it there. They laughed it off at first, figured Rachel was messing with them, hiding under it to scare them. Maddie even walked over and gave it a light kick. "Rachel, we know it's you." Nothing moved. Jenna called upstairs. Rachel answered from the kitchen, confused, saying she'd been up there the whole time watching TV and hadn't touched the basement in hours. That's when the room got very quiet. Sam wanted to leave it and go sleep upstairs. Maddie wanted to unzip it and prove it was nothing. Jenna, she says this was the worst decision of her life, sided with Maddie. She crouched down, grabbed the zipper, started pulling it open. It was empty, just fabric and a flattened pillow. They all breathed out at once, and Maddie started laughing at how scared they'd all gotten over nothing. And that's when Jenna noticed something the flashlight had caught for half a second inside the empty bag before she zipped it back up. A hair tie, still warm. None of the 3 girls in that basement wore hair ties that color. They checked the doors, both locked, both bolted from the inside, the way Jenna's dad always left them. Every window in the basement was painted shut. Had been for years, her dad complained about it constantly. So how did someone get in? And more importantly, the question none of them said out loud, but all of them were thinking, where did they go? They didn't sleep. They sat pressed against the wall with every light in the basement on until sunrise, and the second it was bright outside, they went straight upstairs and told Rachel everything. Rachel didn't laugh. She went pale. She told them that 2 nights earlier she'd heard noises down in the basement around 3 a.m., assumed it was the cat, and gone down to check. She said she saw the basement door, the one leading out to the backyard stairwell, standing wide open. She closed it, locked it, and never told anyone because she figured she was just being paranoid. That door had been locked the whole time the girls checked it that night. Locked from the inside. Here's the part Jenna still can't explain. About 6 weeks later, doing laundry, her mom found a sleeping bag in the storage closet under the stairs. One that didn't belong to their family. Navy blue, unzipped, folded neatly like it had been put away by someone who lived there. They never found out who it belonged to. They never found out who was in the basement that night, sleeping 4 feet away from 3 13-year-old girls, silent for who knows how long, before slipping back out a door that was locked on the inside. Jenna says to this day, she still checks basement doors twice before she goes to sleep in someone else's house. This one comes from a guy named Derek, and it happened at a sleepover with 5 of his friends when they were 15. Out at a friend's family cabin, way out past cell signal, the kind of place with one dirt road in and pitch black woods on every side. Late into the night, someone brought up a game. Not Ouija, nothing that on the nose. It was a version of hide and seek, except one person hides outside in the dark, alone for exactly 10 minutes, and everyone else waits inside with the lights off, counting. Derek said it felt stupid and fun at first. A dare more than anything. They drew names. It landed on their friend Tyler. Tyler laughed, grabbed a flashlight, and walked out the back door into the tree line. The rest of them sat in the dark cabin, counting down on a phone timer, snacking, joking around. At the 8-minute mark, the joking stopped, because someone realized the porch light, the one Tyler had turned on before he left, so he could find his way back, had gone dark. Nobody in the cabin had touched the switch. At 10 minutes, Tyler didn't come back, They called his name from the porch.
Tyler.
Nothing. One of the girls, Ashley, grabbed a flashlight and said she'd go look. 3 of the guys went with her, leaving 2 people behind at the cabin in case Tyler doubled back. They found his flashlight about 40 feet into the woods. Still on, lying in the dirt, beam pointed straight up at the trees. No Tyler. They called his phone. It rang once, then went straight to voicemail, like someone had picked up and immediately hung up. Derek says that part still gets to him more than anything else that happened that night, because it meant someone had touched that phone. They searched for almost 20 minutes, shouting his name, getting further from the cabin than any of them were comfortable with. Then Ashley froze and grabbed Derek's arm. Somewhere off to their left, deep in the tree line where none of their flashlights reached, they heard someone laughing. Low, slow, doing a very bad impression of Tyler's voice. It said, "You're getting warmer." None of them had told anyone which direction they were walking. They ran back to the cabin. All of them. No one is proud of leaving the search like that, but Derek says every one of them agrees it was the right call. They locked the door, called Tyler's parents from the landline, and waited nearly 45 minutes for anyone to reach them out there. Tyler walked out of the woods on his own about 10 minutes before help arrived. Fine, confused. He said he'd found a good hiding spot near a fallen tree, waited the full 10 minutes like they'd planned, and then started walking back. Except every time he thought he was close to the cabin, the porch light he was aiming for seemed to move further away. He said at one point he saw the cabin clearly, walked toward it for almost 5 minutes, and it never got any closer. He also said something that made the whole group go silent. He said partway through hiding, he heard his own name called from near the cabin. Derek's voice, he swears, calling him back early, and he'd almost gone toward it before deciding to stick to the game. Derek never called his name, not once. To this day, none of them go back to that cabin, and Derek says the strangest part isn't the voice, or the porch light, or the phone call that came from somewhere in those trees. It's that when they checked Tyler's phone the next morning, there was an outgoing call in the log, made during those 10 minutes he was gone, placed to a contact saved in his phone as Mom. Except Tyler's mom was standing in the driveway with them by then. Her phone had never rung. If you made it this far without checking the door behind you, respect. Let me know in the comments which story got to you more, the basement or the cabin. And if you've got your own true story, my inbox is always open. I read every single one, and some of the best stories I've ever covered started as a comment, just like the one you're about to leave. Until next time, sleep tight, or don't.